must be it must be late or early. Depends how you look at
Really
this.
about to be 1 a.m. Yeah. It's okay though, we got to make things happen.
Very good, very good. Let's. You have to go to bed, so of course, let's make sure we don't. We just started our day. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Liverpool, but yeah, let's make sure
Don't worry about my
that.
schedule, man. I'm always working. It doesn't matter the time. We got to do
Okay,
what we got to do. So
good, good, good.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
do.
So my daughter just came into to see
She looks,
what's
she looks a
happening.
lot like
Who's
you.
Daddy talking to?
She looks like you.
Good. Yeah, so she probably going to be all right. We'll see how it is. Um,
I did a last interview, and I had my little guy too, and it was just me and him, and he came, and I had to he's like, yeah, just bring him in, and so it's
mm,
all good,
mm,
brother. It's
mm.
not a big
Yeah,
deal.
I mean, it's kind of the times there are right now. Normally we would be sitting in the office, kind of, halfway through your day, and you kind of, all suited up like you are and ready to go. But no,
That's
It-
life though. People can relate. We're keeping it real.
yeah,
That's what matters.
absolutely.
Yeah, I want to introduce you to people who are watching. Michael, I've actually been a fan of yours from YouTube. Actually, I found out about you from YouTube. Actually,
Okay. Do you remember which video brought you to me? Which video was
yes,
that?
I do.
Okay.
The suit supply review.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That was the first one I watched, and then you did a very good job. I also like the bow tie one as well. Yeah, those are two of
It's
my
good.
favorites.
It's very interesting. Let's talk about suit supply for a second because I think it's very interesting to kind of figure it out what's happening there. Because obviously, suit supply is a suit brand, in my opinion, one of the best in the world
Yeah,
in
I
terms
agree.
of price and quality. But very interesting. They never kind of do discounts and outlets and things like that. Once in a blue moon, they would do a discount and everyone would jump on it.
Yeah.
But it's actually interesting. It happened a few days ago. They sent an email out to their mailing base saying, outlet is open. This is the password. I don't know whether I got it, but apparently a few other people didn't. So I don't know
I didn't get
why.
it, and I'm subscribed.
Yeah. So and it was a massive big outlet. So I sent it to my friend who's like big fan of Sid Supply. I was like, listen, like go and do it. And he was literally half an hour after the outlet was open, and half of the item was already obviously gone. And you think, wow, amazing. And I said to him, like, the fact that they don't do outlets or prices or discounts makes it so when they actually do one on occasion, it's actually completely sold out. And it just goes to show how incredible their products are and what's the fan base and how many people would. Because it's not only about suits for them. I think it's the
Yeah.
fact that you can return it with no fuss. That you can, the quality, the fabrics are really, good. Like Vitale Barberis for, $350 or $400. That's
I think they're really transparent with what they're doing. They're not
correct.
going to hide anything. They're real
Yeah.
with everything.
Exactly. So I really like about it. So yeah, Suit Supply I've been fan of. I've met a few guys from the Netherlands where obviously Suit Supply started. I've met a few guys who used to work for Suit Supply. Now they started their own brand. So Suit Supply has not only kind of started this movement a few years ago, but it's actually also kind of made other companies to start and look at its suits. So there are so many companies in Amsterdam, for instance, or Netherlands, that they used to work for Suit Supply, or someone who used to be, vice president. Now they open another company that it's kind of a competition, but it's kind of slightly different to Suit Supply. It's super interesting. I
It's
think Suit
interesting
Supply
and it's
is,
good though, right? Because that means people
yeah,
are interested.
and it's just sort of kind of an easy and very inexpensive way for people to try a real suit. Not a suit that you're going to buy at the shopping mall for $300 that
It's no comparison.
actually
No comparison.
that actually probably cost $20 to make. And it's kind of and you think, oh, I'm buying something from Macy's and JC Penney's or whatever you go and shop, and it's just sort of those $300 suits. They are Mickey Mouse suits.
Yeah.
Crazy. I obviously I don't know exactly what JC Penney's and Macy's or the companies doing in America because obviously they're not here.
Funny
But
story.
I,
I
yeah.
was actually a tailor for Macy's for a while,
Okay.
and I was constantly opening the suits
Mm,
because that was part of my work. I'm a tailor,
mm, Mm,
and I would see what's on the inside, and yeah, like you said, it's no comparison to what Two
mm,
Supply offers for that
mm,
price. You
mm.
get to step into a different category without paying that
Correct.
huge
Correct.
price point, but it gets
Correct.
you you basically you get your feet wet with that. Kind of
Correct.
gets you
I agree.
understand the construction, the drape, all those little details and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that about Food Supply because it kind of allows people to kind of get onto that journey fairly inexpensively. What's also interesting, like I'm a huge fan of eBay and things that you can
Oh yeah.
buy on eBay. It's huge. I've recorded some YouTube videos on that as
The
well. How
resale
you can
value.
get,
Yes.
yeah, it's unbelievable. So you buy suit from Suit Supply for $400. You wear it for for a year, and then you sell it for $250 on eBay. Like it's crazy,
It's
right? Like
it's smart. It's a smart investment. You know, people are
yeah,
gonna.
yeah, I absolutely agree. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. So yeah, I mean that's enough about Suit Supply, but it's just very interesting how obviously you
Yeah, I mean
uh,
that's basically how I connected with you, man. To be honest, you know, back
good.
then before I started my brand and all that,
Mhm.
that's how I actually, you know.
And
Oh,
probably you thought I can do better than this guy. I can
oh, you
beat
know
this
what? I
guy.
used
So,
to say, I'm not even kidding. I used to say it before I used to go to work, eating my
mm,
cereal. I would watch your videos, and I'm like just trying to learn, you know, because
mm,
we all got to
good,
learn from each
very
other,
good.
and
Wow,
this is
amazing.
real. I would just eat my cereal. I'm like, man, like I connected with you so because I just agree with your
Amazing.
points. I agree with
Mm,
what you said,
mm, mm,
and you didn't knock the
amazing.
brand because you knew the value.
Yeah, yeah,
You kept it real. You
yeah,
didn't like kick, didn't kick Sioux Supply. You
yeah.
said what it was, what you
just to
felt.
just to promote
Yeah,
my own brand or my own stuff. Yeah, I agree. I think
yeah.
you have to keep it real and you have to give it to the man, and they Suit Supply is doing a great job. So
I
let's
mean,
keep it out. I actually been in touch with a company from China has been in touch with me about some making suits, and I'm not really want to do anything in China, not because I'm against it, but I think especially environment impact of me sending a suit from China with on 3 planes to get to me. Like it's kind of weird, for the savings. So I'm not saying it's bad, but maybe there are better choices that you can make as a tailor or as a brand. But I've been in touch with someone who was actually a massive factory that produces stuff for Indochino Suit Supply, and kind of it's very interesting how it is. I've seen pictures and I've seen a kind of presentation about the whole complex of where these suits are made. It is wow, state of the art technology.
yeah.
Everything is kind of you think of sweatshops and you think like, China. This is like 21st,
Yeah.
22nd century. Like the amount
They
of
kept the game.
machinery, it's unbelievable. So they also produced in a very good environment. So I like that.
I think it's just looking at a like, hey, how do I feel about bringing stuff from China just because of what's
Mm,
going on, and
mm,
also,
mm, mm.
um, just like you said, like going to 3 planes, all it, like it's just
Correct.
having control, basically.
Yeah, and also, is that the best choice you could be making? And before that, maybe before all this crisis happened, maybe maybe it was okay, like in the sense that we couldn't care less about, I would fly to other places in Europe pretty much every other day to see customers and to make them suits and things like that. And I've seen, kind of my peers from US flying all over US to make suits for people as well, on the planes. And I'm thinking maybe that crisis also made us realize that maybe there are better ways to do it, and
I
maybe
agree.
there
I
is,
agree.
maybe we shouldn't be flying as much. Maybe the environmental impact of our actions is actually too big. And I'm not environmentalist. I'm not going to go and join Greenpeace or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's not about that, but it's kind of
making you think different.
yeah, like obviously you cannot get the haircut over the phone and you cannot make a suit over Skype, but there is something that we have to think about as an industry, as tailors, to kind of figure out what else can we be doing that it's kind of slightly different. And maybe flying every day to see one customer to make him one suit is not, you know, it's no longer an option. It shouldn't be. But I don't know. Maybe
Innovate,
we're gonna go back
innovate.
to
Really, that's what it is. The word, innovate.
yeah, yeah.
Finding a way to still be able to keep the suits alive in a different way where it works even in a time like this.
Yeah, I was very interested. I got in touch with company. I'll tell you the name of them. I mean, are we rolling? Are we already talking, or are
Yeah,
you still kind of?
I'm
Yeah. Okay.
recording now. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. Because there is a company. There is an app on my phone called Tailor Guide. Tailor Guide is the app, right? I'm on like Android, so phones. I guess on iPhones the same. I don't know. But there is a Finnish company from Finland, from Helsinki, that made this app, and someone has recommended that to me. And it's basically it measures you. The app measures you, and it's kind of a very different to all the apps that I've seen so far that measures you, because that app takes a picture of you, and then you decide where the points of the shoulder is, or where the
Oh,
where the top of your head is, and then you kind of move kind of arrows to point where things are,
uh-huh.
right? And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I obviously took pictures of myself, several, and I'm measuring myself, and you know what, it
Pretty
was pretty
accurate.
accurate.
That's amazing.
And I thought, I wonder if we are onto something here. Like, obviously,
Yeah,
there's just an app, the Finnish company, a couple of guys decided to do it. It's very not commercial. It's very much a kind of an app that we've created, in our bedroom kind of thing. But you think, is that a way for us to access, instead of flying, access people and their measurements? And I wonder,
I see where
because
you're
that
going.
would save a lot of time, a lot of hassle. Obviously, our service, mine is the same as yours, is all about person.
I will say this. I know a company who's doing this. For example, like you're gonna utilize the app, right, to get
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
measurements as close as possible without you
Hmm.
going to that client
Hmm.
to get, measurements. So you have
Hmm.
two fittings, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
the app will take care of the first fitting,
Correct.
right? And then from that fitting, you send it out, and then
Yeah.
they make the first suit that will go out to the customer,
Correct.
and then you can, kind of work with that. Like, okay, now we got to fix this, fix that.
Correct.
Second
Correct.
fitting will be, fit like a glove, depending on,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
now I see
Hmm.
where the
Hmm.
mistake is. We need to take it in here, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I know where you're going with that. I see that. I see
So
potential in that for sure.
yeah, and I think that there was so many goes at this so far. Big brands already kind of looking into this, and VR and AR, and maybe you take a picture of yourself, or there is a video of you, and then you try clothing, and somehow it fits on you, and you say, okay, I want this suit or that suit. I think that's coming, the VR AR stuff, especially from people if they're working from home, kind of remotely. They don't want to go to a shop. Could I think IKEA is doing that right now, where you can kind of take a picture and select the product, and actually with the video you can
I
put
see
that
that.
sofa in
I've
your
actually used that
corner,
myself.
that sort of thing. Have you
Yeah,
seen that?
yeah,
Yeah.
I've used that myself. Yeah,
Yeah. So
pretty
so
cool.
it's kind of that technology I'm thinking about. So without going anywhere, can you fit that sofa into here? Oh yeah, it looks nice. Can you fit that? So I think that's where it's going, but it takes I think it takes a lot longer for it to actually be true. But maybe this crisis is gonna be a
Possibility.
facilitator for that. You know.
I
So
agree.
yeah, so I think there is lots of things that we have to think about of how we're going to work, and what's the sort of a way for us to go forward with this, because at the end of the day, it's all about people, and people, your customer like you, that's why they come to you. People would pay big amount of money for me to fly to places like Monaco or Milan, and see them and make them a suit. And you think, yeah, but it's all about me connecting with them, and they liking me, and they wanting my suit, rather than if I do that over Skype, is it the same? I don't know. So
But
it's
I mean,
that's
you have to have options, right? Like depending on
correct.
your budget and your client,
Mm,
like there's gonna
mm,
be clients that you of course want to go fly and meet
correct.
them and measure them, and that's 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 where you separate your time, right? Like this is
Hmm.
worth me going and flying and measuring and building that relationship.
Correct.
And then there's gonna be customers who are just gonna want to buy a suit from you. For
Correct.
example, me, I'm
I
in
agree.
America and I want to buy a suit from you, but I don't necessarily want you to fly all the way over here. But you still
Yeah,
have
how
that
do we do
option
it?
for me, right?
Exactly,
There
exactly,
we go.
exactly, exactly. So I think that's kind of something that we, as the industry, have to kind of start looking into and working. And I think that crisis also make people realize that having 17 physical locations in every single city in the world is great, until it's not. Until it's all of a sudden a bit of a problem, until all of a sudden you hire in 50, 100 people, and all of a sudden it's you're in massive debt and potentially going under. So it's all sorts of very interesting things that's going to come out of that for our industry, for other industries, I'm sure as well. But for
Yeah.
our industry, yeah, very interesting. Even supply chains. Like, imagine that you were making something in Spain or Italy. Are they going to be the same? Are they going to work the same way? Are they going to? Is it for next 6 to 12 months? Is it going to be flawless? Is it going to be exactly the same how it used to be? I don't know. Like, so yeah, it's going to have an impact, of course.
People think different too, because I told them like, Super 130 made in Italy. They're like, whoa. Like now they're like, whoa, So it's but it's like, me and you both know that Italy makes the best cloth. Like,
Correct.
like
Correct.
whoa. But I
Correct.
do have a few questions for you if you don't mind.
Come on, let's go. Let's do it.
I do want to ask you how you got into the menswear community or world.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. I was always into menswear and into looking good and into I remember when I was a young kid, it must have been 10 years old, maybe 11, something like that. And I remember I saw a guy in a suit in my hometown. And I remember I looked at him and I said to my mum, I remember that exactly where it was. So it must have been Bidding Impact. I don't know why. But and I remember I said to my mum that I want to have a job in the future that I'm going to be wearing suits. And
That's
my mum was like, okay, like weird coming from a young child like this. Okay, whatever. And I remember I was like, whenever I saw a guy looking good in a suit, I was like, I want to have a job at some point in the future that I'm going to be wearing suits. So that was the aim, right? So I didn't want to be fireman. I didn't want to be policeman. I didn't want to be any of this. I want to have a job that I'm going to have a suit on. And I know when I kind of was going through universities and I graduated from university, I graduated as an engineer. So obviously that's not very much wearing a suit every day to work kind of place. But I still did. When I would go to see clients and when I would go to sites really dirty, like, I don't know, making chemicals and shit like that. And I would just helping them fixing something. And I would have a shirt and a bow tie. And I would just be religious about this. And that, you're talking 12 years ago, 10 years ago. And I remember it got to the point where people were even asking me or asking the company I used to work for to say, hey, send the guy with a bow tie. They couldn't figure out the name, but the bow tie guy, right? He's going to fix us. And it got to the point where I'd literally been in the industry, the bow tie guy, right?
Yeah.
And you think, okay, that teach me two lessons straight away. One, that you have to have something that people remembers you for. So whether that's, dressing good or dressing well or being very outspoken, or having something that no one else has. So especially in the industry where there's like very often side note, when for instance someone asks me, oh, you are image consultant, you tailor, what should I do differently in my industry? I was like, oh yeah, what is it you do? I'm I don't know, a painter decorator. I was like, okay, painters, decorators usually wear scruffy overalls full of stains. I was like, imagine if you are wearing a shirt and a bow tie. Like, you'll be the only bow tie painter decorator in the area.
People remember.
And people remember you, and people will not, and you can build a brand on that. Your logo, your website, your business card, your van could be bow ties, right? And it's just sort of, it's how you do it. And going back to what I said before about kind of making people to realize that you're different, that you're better, that they remember you, and that's one of the things to do it. And it's and it just sort of it sort of surprised me every time I talk to people and they ask me about branding and about how to stand out. And it's such a simple things like this can make you just be above and beyond, because you're probably as good as the next guy in terms of like paint and decorating. Like, what else can it be? Like, you have to paint that wall, that's it, right? But what can it make them to pay $500 for you instead of $300 for the guy because you're the bow tie guy, right? It's just so simple like that. So
100% agree.
Yeah, so to me, it's that, and it was always like that. And when I kind of was going through engineering phase, and I was transitioning to menswear, because then I realized I wanted to do this. I want to have a brand that I want to be self-employed, so I don't want to work for the guy. But when the transition was happening between me working for the guy and me transitioning onto my own business, I did it the way I always recommend people doing it. So don't just quit your job, because that's the worst thing you can do. Because imagine if you have quit your job last month, that would have been the worst possible time to quit your job. But you didn't know that, right?
Yeah.
So that's always the possibility that if you quit your job, something like that could happen around the corner, something like that that you don't expect. You know, I don't know, something is going to happen to the industry, and all of a sudden everyone is kind of not doing like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So don't quit your job. I would say do that transition very slowly in terms of, you know, maybe have part-time whatever you do there, and maybe some evening jobs, and maybe you can, I don't know, flip some stuff on eBay or whatever else. So make some money, and then have 3 clients, 15 clients, 22 clients, 27 clients, 37 clients, etc. And then all of a sudden you build that base, and it reaches the point where you kind of, you know what, I can choose between sleep and doing suits. Right, this is the time to start cutting down on the things that I don't want to do, and focus more on the things I want to do, right? And I think it's super important for people to understand that, and that transition is extremely important. Unless you obviously have a different route that you want to have some, I don't know, investors in, and they pour 100K onto your business, and you hire 3 guys, and obviously that's a full-time job. You have to be on it. There's no way. But if you started like probably me and you, sort of slowly going into this, then it's just have a side job, be a tailor at Macy's, you know, part-time if you can, you know, because that's going to bring some money in. But then the other money is going to be from your clients, and it's fine, and it's important to have that. So the kind of transition would have to happen slowly. That's what I think. Unless you kind of,
Very smart.
you know, unless you are, again, I've seen people doing that very quickly, and some of them successful, some of them not, transition into tailoring even. But they usually would have some sort of background. They would have some clients. They would work as a tailor at another company, so they would have those contacts. So when they jump onto that kind of self-employed new venture, they already had, you know, 20, 50, 100, 150 contacts that potentially can could give a ring and say, hey, listen, you used to be a client of theirs. I was looking after you anyhow, so you may as well just come to me. I'll give you some extra discounts. I'll give you a free shirt if you come to me. Let's make something together, you know. And that's kind of, that's probably another way to do it, but you have to be kind of smart about it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Once you work with somebody and you provide like this, like a wonderful customer service, of course
Mm.
they're gonna follow. I have customers who's like, I don't care where you go, I'm gonna just follow you because
Yeah,
I
exactly,
like you, you know. So
exactly.
I do have I know we're running out of time here. One question that I do like
No,
to
no, no.
ask
It's okay.
everybody
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
is
She's watching cartoons.
five style tips that every man should know according to you.
5. I don't think that guy's going to remember 5. Let's
Let's
make it 3 or something like that, or
let's make
something
it
like a
3.
general
Okay.
rules. Yeah,
Let's
because
make
it's.
it 3 essentials or anything that you any
I
tips.
would say number one, especially if people are kind of starting this journey, whether that's tailor-made suits or anything like that. I would say don't go to Savile Row for your first suit. I would say don't spend $3,500 on your first made-to-measure suit or custom suit or anything like that. Go, like I always say to people, like a student would come to me and message me, and they would say, "Oh, I've got a graduation in 3 months' time, and I want to have you to make me the best custom suit, and I want to, you know, like, okay, hold on a second. You are on this. How many suits you've got?" He was like, 0. Okay, you need to start somewhere else. This is not the good place to start. Why? Because if you buy your first suit from Macy's or from even worse, some sort of stores, right? And it's polyester, and you're going to sweat your bollocks off. You're going to appreciate the fact that it's polyester, okay? And then you're going to go to Suit Supply, right? And then Suit Supply is going to give you a nicer feel and nice, and then you're going to be wearing that for a year, and you're like, okay, I like this. Where can I go from this? Oh, let me go to maybe make to measure, maybe spend $1,000 on your next suit. And then you're going to have me or you come in, measuring you, changing you. Okay, brilliant. Okay. Then what's going to happen next? Maybe then you go and explore bespoke. Maybe you go to
I
Naples
love
in
that.
Italy.
I love
Maybe you
that.
go to Savile Row. Maybe you go to other places. There needs to be a journey. You cannot start at Savile Row because
Yeah,
you're going to
I
try
agree.
it. And it's
You're
going to
not
be
gonna
like,
know what the
is
difference
that
is.
it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't know that this, like, look, this buttonhole is slightly skewed. I want to have it straight. I was like, no, this is handmade. A person was actually flipping making that buttonhole, so it's actually curved and it's actually not exactly perfect. And that's the way bespoke is. Like, you want to have one skewed in comparison to the other, because it means that person was actually sitting there and putting this together. But you're not going to appreciate that
Yeah.
when you first do this bespoke suits for $3,500.
I love that. The journey, you got to crawl before you walk.
I
And
100%,
run, you
and
know?
there's so many options. There's so many options these days. You know, you can. I mean, I've done a video on eBay, and I'm getting slightly excited about this question because I think it's important. Because I've made a video on YouTube about eBay and about the way how you can start and grab. Geese and Hawks is one of the brands on Savile Row in the UK. It's I think it's been founded in like 1791 or something like that. It's been doing suits for queens and kings and things like that in the UK, right? Amazing brand. If you want to go, Suit Supply just sent me an email right now.
Yeah.
Save another 30%. They're going crazy. Anyhow, but if you go Geese and Hawks, and if you are, go to Savile Row and have a bespoke suit, brilliant. But imagine that on eBay right now, you could go type in Geese and Hawks, type in your size of your jacket, and I guarantee you, you're going to find 3, 4, 5 jackets that probably your size that probably cost $70 to $100. Imagine you buying that. Imagine you taking that back to you, and that's tip number 2. It's coming right now to you. You're taking that jacket and take it to a tailor, take it to an alteration place. Anything that you buy, if you care about how you look and you care about style, and that's, hello, everyone,
Yeah.
should actually go to a tailor and should take that jacket, take that shirt, take those pants that they bought from eBay, from Geese and Hawks, that originally was $3,000. Now they are $200. And you bought them, and they are good condition. Obviously, cannot be completely run down. So you have to be good condition, but you can find out on eBay. You can ask questions. And you take that to a tailor, and they actually adjust it on you. So what you're having is for $250, you bought something on eBay, you paid some alteration cost, and you are starting to wear a suit that is worth $2,000.
Yeah.
Like, tell me a better way. Like, this is what this 21st century, 2020 allows you to do. Like, you don't have to fly to London to make your first bespoke suit. No, you should still sit in on your couch in Tulsa, and you can order something from eBay, and that's going to be delivered to your door. Like, why would you want to go anywhere? Like, start slowly. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And take whatever you're going to buy to alteration place and actually make it adjusted into you. And it's just going to fit a lot better, especially if you trust your tailor. And I think everyone should have their own tailor, like they have their own barber, like they have,
I agree.
a favorite person
Like
that
their
you
doctor,
go to.
we're
Yeah, exactly. And you kind of have those people, right? You know, and you trust them and you like them and they understand you. And, my seamstress that I've been working with for maybe last 5, 6 years, I'm sometimes bringing her a shirt and she's like, what do we do here? I was like, oh, half centimeter here, 2 centimeters there. I don't even have to pin sometimes. And she knows exactly. And she knows exactly how I'm pinning, what I
you
mean
have
by
your own
if I
language.
put pin here and not there. Like, amazing, right? So you have to have that person in your life as well. So that was tip number 2. So Claude, before you run, take everything to alteration place. And I would say just sort of tip number 3 for me would be sort of, these days there is so much content about menswear, men's style. When I was in my 20s, that was nearly 20 years ago. I'm 38 this year. There wasn't, obviously Instagram wasn't there, and there wasn't a lot of on YouTube and things like that. You couldn't just, I mean, I remember it must have been 2009, so something like 12 years ago, something like that, 11, 12 years ago. And I remember I was sitting in Germany. I was working as an engineer back then, and I was working in Germany on a project. And I remember we finished the shift, went back to the hotel, and I launched YouTube. And it was a guy called Aaron Marino, right? It was I Am Alpha M. He was just starting his channel from his bedroom, and I was watching his videos. He was putting a video once a day about this and that. And he was funny. He was sarcastic. He was, it was fun to watch, right? But there was nothing else. There was no Gentleman's Gazette. There was no Real Men Real Style. There was none of these big Hosses and Egan. None of these guys existed back then. So what could you do? You could go and read a blog, maybe, that was kind of written in a very old, sad, dry language, or like, there wasn't that much stuff to kind of watch and read. Now Like there is no excuse. If you think that you want to change anything in your style, if any of you sends me another message on Instagram saying, what can I change, or what should I wear, or what should I do, I'm going to slap you in the face, because there is so much content out there. You can browse forever on Instagram, on YouTube, and learn about the drapes, the cloths, a difference between tailoring of Italian and English, and gazillions of things. So I would say, if you are remotely interested in this and kind of want to look good, and if you are 16 years old and 17 and 22 and 25, and you're just about to start a new job, and you think, what suit should I have for the interview? I mean, please do yourself a favor, go on YouTube, watch 7 videos about this, and you're going to have a lot better understanding of what to wear and how to wear. And then, yeah, message me, message other guys on Instagram. Like, we are accessible. It's so easy to find us. It's so easy to kind of get in touch.
And we love to help. We love to help.
And exactly. And you know, we would point you in the right direction. But just to say, oh, you know, I don't know where to find information, like, this is ridiculous. You know,
there's no excuse.
There's so much of it. You know, there's probably too much of it, but it's okay. Like, it's fine. So I would say, so tip number 3 would be just to kind of have your favorite people that you're going to watch and listen and comment and give value. Like, what the biggest value that anyone could give me, for instance, is a comment, is a like, is a share, is a conversation that we can have on LinkedIn, on Instagram, or YouTube. You know, they are interested in what I do, and they comment, and then they dislike, and they disagree, and they like. This is the currency that you as a listener have. You know, your currency is your likes and your shares and your comments, and we creators, whether you create something on Instagram or YouTube or wherever else, we appreciate that. This is the fuel. This is, you know, if I get a comment on my suit supply video and it says, oh, shit suit and whatever else, and then it's like, okay, I always reply saying, you know, why would you say that? What's happening? You know, I'm not associated with suit supply, but I never had that experience. So what's going on? And I know Suit Supply, for instance, going back to them, because we obviously were talking about them, but you know, their customer service is like unbelievable. And I always say as well, like, you can WhatsApp your favorite suit store. Like, this is crazy. You know, this is really going above and beyond just normal store. You know, when that's what you have to do. So
I love that you say that. Even like a negative comment or something, like, it's just getting the conversation started. Like,
absolutely,
it's appreciated, you know, 100%. Because obviously we're all gonna have different tastes, different opinions, and all that. But it's just keeping the suit alive, you know.
Correct. And I had recently, I had on LinkedIn. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. I'm pushing a lot LinkedIn, because I think it's just one of those platforms that it's growing enormously, and there is still a huge amount of land grab for creators like me and you to sort of have it there and be there. And if you're not on LinkedIn, either you or your listeners, then you should definitely look into that, because that's another platform that is just going to grow and grow and grow. But on LinkedIn, I recently have a situation where I post pictures of suits, either mine or someone else's, and I ask people to comment and obviously let me know what they think. And there was about negative comments. That's what I'm telling you the story. There was a guy who's always comment, and he would never be happy. Whatever I put on, he would be like saying, oh, this tie is wrong, or the collar is wrong, or the knot is wrong. And I'm always like, you know, what would you do instead? You know, what color would you use instead? Sort of keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
But it got to a point, and that's about negative comments, where I'm thinking, I think I said something about shirt. I had like very nice linen shirt, picture of a very nice linen shirt. I was like, you know, what do you think, guys, of linen shirts? Like, are there any fancy of linen shirts? You know, it creases a lot, but it keeps you cool. Like, what do you think? You know, is this enough benefit to kind of live this creased life, you know, and this and that? And he was like, oh, this is the worst shirt I've ever seen. I was like, block. I was like, enough. Like, this is, it gets to a point where you just don't want to have that guy in your system anymore.
That's just a negative person there.
Yeah, and it's just at some point you can have comments, you can have negative comments, but at some point if it's like 17th negative comment on you, like, gone. Like, this is let's move on with that. And it was a guy who would never buy anything from me, and he would even say, oh, he's like retired old guy, he's got 20 suits in his wardrobe, never wears them, so he's not even my client, my niche. I don't, you know, it's like, that's fine, gone.
Yeah.
And even some people are like, oh, I've seen that Eugene is no longer commenting. I was like, yeah, I blocked him. So it's just like, it's also got to a point where you care about your community, and you don't want people to read negative comments about you or your stuff all the time, on your content, because obviously that sort of, puts you down a bit, and it puts you in the wrong mood as well, in bad mood.
That's what we call here a hater. No matter
Yes,
what you
correct,
post, no matter
correct,
what you do,
correct.
they're always gonna find something wrong.
Correct. No,
Yeah.
I agree. I 100% agree. And you just have to be. It gets to a point where it gets annoying, and you have to just kind of get rid of it, and it's
I've done
okay.
that. It's either on
And it's
follow or
yeah,
block or whatever. But
yeah. Block is the easiest
yeah,
way, because then it kind of blocks all the communication. They don't see you.
yeah.
That's fine. Let's move on. There is too many people in our lives that we should care about, rather than them. So yeah. So that's that about negative comments. Yes.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It gets to a point where it's like enough is enough. I gave you a chance. I wanted to have a conversation. You weren't. You just didn't want to. All you were doing is being negative. So you're gone.
It's very interesting. I mean, let's talk about kind of your. I'm sure your audience know your story a bit, but I do get every now and again from people, especially on Instagram. I don't know why, but people would ask me like, "Oh, what's your supplier? What's your supplier for shirts? What's your supplier for suits? Let me know, because I want to start my own made-to-measure business." And I'm thinking, this question is so wrong on so many levels, because A, do your own homework. B, why would I do, like, you gave me nothing. You gave me zero value,
Like
and you're asking me for this.
yeah, like the things we had to go through and learn just to get a
Yeah,
supplier, and then
yeah,
just give
exactly.
it to
And get a
you.
supplier and talk to them, and be good. I mean, I've got no issues with sharing suppliers, but
I agree.
with people who are just, more than just, hi, Mr. No One, give me all your contacts because I want to start my own business.
Yeah,
Like, and it's literally every week I get a message like this, and you're like, who are you people? Like, if you are so determined to start your own business, that the most thing you can do is message me and say, give me all your suppliers. It's like, okay, I think you're going to struggle in business in general, because how are you going to find customers? How are you going to, if you're just going to message someone
yeah,
and say, make a suit with me? Like, what the hell? It doesn't work like that.
yeah. You got
So it's very, very interesting. I wonder what's your story, what's your take on this, or whether you have any messages like that every now and again. But
You know
it's
what?
annoying.
Just like you, I had to learn everything. I had to find my own people, find my own connects, so it took a while. So I agree. I'm not just gonna give you everything. It's not because I don't want to share, but what are you providing
Correct.
for me?
Correct.
It took me a long time to learn the business. I'm not
Correct.
just gonna give it to you.
Correct.
And I don't know who you are. You could
Yeah.
be the greatest thing coming up. I don't know that.
Yeah.
But if you can't find your own supplier, I mean, just even getting your first customer is like
Mm,
really hard. So
mm.
if you can't get your first supply, what makes you think like it's just steps
Correct.
you
I
have to
agree.
take,
I 100%
you
agree.
know? Yeah.
So, and it's I in the past I have asked colleagues, so people like you and people like in other countries, or people that I've met through, for instance, events like PT Womo and things like that in Florence, where I would have some relationships, and I would ask them, I'm looking for a shoe supplier in that sort of price range, for these kind of things from Italy. Do you know anyone? And they would know someone, and they would be very happy to share if I have got ongoing relationship with those people. So it's not as if you wouldn't share, as you said. It's not about you wouldn't
It's
share
like,
ever.
yeah,
It's
I
it's
know.
kind of
I know.
it's kind of having that, or even I would sometimes say to
It's
my
like me.
colleagues.
It's like me how I found you, and I know like how
Yeah,
you're like, where you're at.
yeah.
It's like, and if I find somebody who's like nowhere, we
Mm.
just kind of know. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly. So I even sometimes when I've got a new supplier, or I'm thinking of a new supplier, I'm like, oh, have you heard of them, or what do you think of these guys? So it's like sometimes I even check with other tailors whether they work with a guy who makes have you heard of him? Is he good? Whatever, right? So sometimes I even do that. So and sometimes they say, oh, don't work with him because they mix some of my orders, and they're not really reliable. Great, great feedback. So I don't, so, and there is again so many suppliers, and if you're not able to do your own research, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of information, especially nowadays. I agree. Oh, anyway, Michael, I
Brilliant.
think we're running out of time here, so we're
Good.
gonna go ahead and end it. But I do appreciate you. I appreciate your time,
I mean, it's
your value.
flipping 1 o'clock for you or something, or half one. Like, it's insane, man.
It's okay, man. Like I said, I wanted to make this happen, so it's not a big deal.
Crazy. Thank you so
Uh,
much. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
doing
your
that.
time,
So
Michael. And yeah,
yeah,
just
let me know.
if
You'll be
you want to give a message or just tell people where they can find you, you can. And
the easiest way is I'm just thinking, what's the best way? There's two ways. One is obviously I've produced lots of videos on YouTube. So if you type Men's Finest on YouTube, you'll find me there. Um, I do a lot of things on Instagram in general, especially sharing lots of stories and lots of suit kind of inspirations on my Instagram, and that's Michael Fratzkovek, so Michael underscore Fratzkovek. If you're just gonna leave that on
yeah, I'll
comments or
go ahead
something,
and put
people are
your
gonna
link
find it.
below the video as well, so
Yeah,
you know where to find you. So
but so that's the easiest one. But it's just in general. Like I think if you type suit supply, I think on YouTube I come up twice on the first page on YouTube, so you'll find me there.
yeah,
If it's the easiest way to do it, because somehow those videos were likable and they were ranked high. So it was very interesting. I mean, just to finish off, I went to a store in the Netherlands, for suit supply store. I was actually flying somewhere, and I stopped at the airport, Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. They've got a shop there, so I went into that shop, and two guys just looked at me like that, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" And they were like, not they were just saying something to each other, and the guy came around and was like, "Oh yeah, how's it doing, sir?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, just looking, just browsing." And I'm seeing that there's something that they want to ask, right? And
yeah.
the other guy comes in and said, "Are you the guy that made the suit supply videos on YouTube?" I was like, "Yeah, is that what?"
I'm
I
one of
think so.
them.
Yeah, I think one of them. Yeah, and it was like, "Yeah," and you just showed me on that you, right? And took a selfie, and then I was like, "Oh, it was so funny." It was like the superstar, right?
Yeah.
I went into suit supply store to get some fame. You know what I'm saying? That was very funny. But no, it's actually very interesting. So the suit supply employees were obviously watching the video, so that was good. I really liked that, and it was a funny story. Cool. Thank you so much, my man.
Thank you again.
I
Thank you for
appreciate it.
your time. We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, let's keep
For all
talking.
your links
Share
below.
share the podcast. I'll share that with my audience as well.
I have it on my
Yeah,
Instagram, my YouTube, and again, I'm gonna put it on my website. I'm gonna put all your links below: Instagram, YouTube, your website, so people
brilliant,
know where to find you.
excellent.
All right,
Keep
man.
on doing what you're doing, man. Thank you so
Be
much.
safe and stay connected, man. I'll talk to you
Take
soon.
care.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Cheers.